Aizen initially appeared to be a very kind, well-respected captain and was looked up to by many, especially his lieutenant Momo Hinamori. However, this was just a mask to disguise his dangerously manipulative nature. In truth, he cares very little for his underlings and is willing to use almost everyone around him as pawns to achieve his goals. He is willing to stop at nothing to further his ambitions, including manipulating or killing anyone if he deems it necessary. He frequently toys with his underlings for amusement. Today we'll be looking at Aizen and see what he does and what aligns with the 48 laws of power. Please subscribe and activate the notification bell. Law 23. Concentrate your forces. Conserve your energies by focusing them all into a single source of power. When looking for such a source, identify a single spring that will sustain you for a long time to come. You gain more power by finding a singular rich source than by flitting between many more shallow sources of power. Power exists in concentrated form. In any organization, power will emanate from a small group of people who are holding all the strings. Consequently, power is like oil. You only need to strike it once to assure yourself a lifetime of wealth and power. Instead of focusing on many little tricks in hopes of surpassing the Shinigami power levels, he focused on one major source of power, which is the Hogyoko. He sacrificed and planned a lot for this one small tool that provides a huge amount of regeneration and power. Law 26. Keep your hands clean. You must maintain a spotless appearance. You should never be associated with nasty deeds. To do this, employ the use of space goats to disguise your involvement. Your reputation depends more on what you conceal than what you reveal. You should always have a convenient space goat on hand for when needing to conceal your more dubious activities. In addition to space goat, you will also need a cat's paw. This is someone who does your dirty work for you while obscuring your involvement. This means letting someone else be the bearer of bad news while you choose to associate yourself exclusively with the good. When Aizen faked his death to the Soul Society, it was an attempt to manipulate Hinamori. The goal behind this manipulation is to create a strong conflict between Gotei 13 and divide them, which will result in weakening them. Aizen used Espadas and Kanamitosen and Gin Ichimaru as pawns to reach some of his goals without revealing himself. He used all of them to do his dirty work for him. I suspect that his other reasoning was for him not to reveal his plans and his fighting potential to his opponents. Law 29. Plan all the way to the end. Always plan until the end. This means thinking through every possibility that could prevent you from reaching your end goal. Thus, you will be able to accommodate for any surprises along the way and secure your future. Most people are too trapped by their emotions in the moment to see ahead. So this will give you the upper hand. Plan in detail before you act, and don't succumb to making any vague plans. Your end goal must always be crystal clear. Aizen wanted to create the Oken, the key that opens the door to the Soul King who rules Soul Society. In order to be able to keep increasing his power, he wanted to merge the power of Hollows and Soul Reapers. This was his experiment with the Vise Art.
Hirako Taicho.
Aizen!
Aizen had made his own version of the Hogyoko to do this, but it was incomplete. He merged it with the one Urahara made, and with that he had finished the one that allowed him to increase his power and become the ultimate being. Aizen said himself that Urahara was the only intellectual challenge he might have had. Remember though that Aizen had his hypnotic power that allowed him to control many of those within Soul Society. Those he did not control he tricked. He was able to get many to do his bidding, knowingly or not. Only Ichigo was not under his control since he had never seen the soul release. Law 28. Interaction with boldness. Everyone admires the bold. The timid are frowned upon. Consequently, you shouldn't choose a course of action half-heartedly. Your doubts will become apparent and will tarnish your reputation. It's always better to act boldly. Any mistakes made are easily compensated by acting even more audaciously. Few are born bold. It's a habit that needs to be cultivated. It must be practiced. Likewise, timidity is also a learned trait. If you find yourself acting timidly, you must root this out and replace it with acts of boldness instead. Aizen always looks calm and fearless in any situation you put him in. Even the way he fights his opponents conveys confidence. For example, he stops swords only using his finger and also attacks by using it. Furthermore, he talks slowly and uses a calm tone of voice while having a relaxed posture with a slight smirk on his face, even if he's under attack by the whole Soul Society. He conveys boldness also with his allies. When there is a disagreement, instead of getting angry and tense, he calmly uses his Ryatsu to warn them. All of this boldness that Sosuke Aizen conveys makes him a feared and respected opponent, which creates a strong reputation for him. Law 27. Create a cult-like following by playing on people's need to believe. People want to believe in something. By inventing yourself as this cult-like entity, they will follow you and give you untold amounts of power. To become such a figure, you need to follow these steps. Keep your words vague and simple but full of promise. Emphasize enthusiasm rather than the intellectual and the rational. Structure your group in accordance to the forms of organized religion. Disguise your sources of income. Create an us versus them dynamic. Aizen stated himself that he never tricked his subordinates into trusting him. In fact, he told them not to trust anyone, even himself. But all creatures have to follow something better and greater than them. They can't resist that urge due to the fact that his words are full of promise, and creating an us versus them dynamic gave the Arankars a goal to strive for.